The coaching staff, the culture they have, and I know the standard they have. My goal is to be prepared for the next level, and I know they have a lot of resources here. Coach Staley, she's amazing. My teammates are amazing, so it was an easy choice for me.
Welcome into South Carolina Sideline, everybody. I am Matt Dowell. Happy 4th of July week. Hope if you're traveling or, hanging out, relaxing on vacation during this holiday weekend, you're enjoying listening or watching to us here on South Carolina Sideline. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, follow us on YouTube or wherever you listen to our podcast. And today, we don't have a guest this week. Usually Thursdays are reserved for our guests here on South Carolina Sideline. But because it's the holiday week, we're going to take a break from interviews, and we will have Marcus Lattimore as our interview for next week here on our podcast. So a big one coming up next week. But here this week, we do have a special 4th of July episode for you in that we got to meet two of South Carolina women's basketball newcomers in Latson and Madina Okot, the transfers from Florida State and Mississippi State this week. We got to pick their brains about joining the South Carolina women's basketball team and what were two huge gets for Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks. First, we're going to hear from Taniyah Latson, the Florida State transfer, who was the most sought-after transfer in all of women's basketball this offseason, the top scorer in NCAA Division I women's basketball last season. We got to talk to her, and when we do these interviews, this was open to the entire local media here in Columbia. So these are not exclusive interviews. These are interviews done in what we call a gaggle format here in the media, which is basically, Taniyah and Madina sit at tables at the basketball facility, and we all just get put our cameras, our microphones up to them, ask them questions. We kind of just circle around them at the table and ask them questions. But first, we're gonna let you guys hear from Taniyah Latson about coming to South Carolina from Florida State and her friendship with Raven Johnson. Here is that gaggle with Taniyah Latson. Taniyah, welcome to Columbia. First of all, what was it about South Carolina that made this the team for you?
The coaching staff, the culture they have, and I know the standard they have. My goal is to be prepared for the next level, and I know they have a lot of resources here. Coach Staley, she's amazing. My teammates are amazing, so it was an easy choice for me.
What's it been like settling in? You hear about South Carolina from the outside, and you're here in the facilities every day practicing. What's that been like for you?
It's been really good. I feel like the transition hasn't been as, nerve-wracking as I thought it was going to be. The girls have welcomed me with open arms, the coaching staff, my strength coach, my athletic trainer. It feels like home, and I'm glad I made this decision because I'm at peace with it.
What about with Coach Staley? What's it been like? I see the smile on your face. Describe, the months and days it's been like under her tutelage and her coaching staff.
Coach Staley is so cool. She's a personable coach, so each of us, she has her own relationship with us, and I can come to her about any and everything, and I feel like that's what makes her so special as a coach. I could talk to her, like a mom outside of this, and then on the court, she's all business, and I really appreciate that because she knows how to balance it.
When you left Florida State, what was it that you were looking for in your next chapter?
Just preparing for the next level, getting to the league, and then also winning a championship. I know South Carolina, there's a standard here, and I wanted to challenge myself, and I feel like this is a great challenge for me.
Obviously, you and Raven know each other. What type of role did Raven play in bringing you here?
A lot. Honestly, me and Raven have kept in touch since I was at Florida State. We text almost every other day, just keeping up with each other, checking in on each other, making sure we're okay. And then she also played a huge role while I was in the transfer portal. She tried to convince me, and that's my girl, so I wanted to play with her for my last year of college, and I feel like we're going to have a great time.
Dawn calls Raven Big Bird because she is so good at kind of getting people to come here and play here. How well liked is Raven in the locker room and influential in that way?
She's a genuine soul. I feel like a lot of people don't know Raven, know her. She's so pure. She encourages all her teammates. Whether she's having a bad day, you never see that. She has a smile on her face all the time. She comes in with great energy, and I feel like that, is contagious, and it leads to, having fun on the court and off the court.
What have the battles been like among the guards? A very deep backcourt guard group. Well, what's that been like, and how have you guys been sharpening each other during this summer session?
Right now, we're focusing on communicating with each other, just building chemistry. Right now, we're challenging each other, holding each other accountable. I feel like we're going to be really, really good in the backcourt for sure. Our posts are doing their thing too. So it's just coming together, getting chemistry, and giving each other constructive criticism and taking it and applying it.
like some people may find it as a challenge coming to a program like South Carolina. You spoke about, the history and the standard here. Why wasn't that scary for you?
Because I know what I want. I'm in my senior year. I know this is something that I need for myself, not just as a player, but as a person to grow. I'm all about growth and, reaching my goals and knowing where I am in life. And I feel like I did a lot of things at Florida State that were really good, and I'm forever grateful for Florida State. But I needed this to challenge myself before going to the league.
I know obviously you weren't on the team last year, but watching them lose in the national championship, that was a tough loss for this group. How much does that motivate you to get back there with this team, even though you weren't physically part of that loss?
People are talking about it. I mean, it's around, and I feel like the girls have taken it personal. I feel like, me coming here, even though I'm a transfer, I still feel that loss for them, because this is like my family now. So, just getting back to the championship is going to be really important.
As far as the city of Columbia, how have you settled in so far?
I haven't really explored as much as I should. I've been trying some new food spots. I just been in the gym, really, in and out of the gym, going home, hanging out with my teammates, just trying to build chemistry with them. I do want to get out over the weekend and just try to see the national park or something, do something outside of basketball.
I know Florida State, obviously, they were a very good team last year. You guys were really good. This team, though, has so much depth, and that's always one of the big themes with South Carolina. For someone who is such an amazing scorer like yourself, what is it like for you to have so much depth around you and so many options?
I'm appreciative. This team, I knew what I was getting myself in coming here. All these girls are talented. All these girls can be first-round picks, and that's what I needed. I wanted to play around, other girls that are of my caliber and to just challenge myself, but also, learn how to play as a whole. That's how it's going to be in the higher level with the WNBA and stuff like that. So just getting accustomed to that is going to be really important.
What's one thing you didn't expect that you're experiencing with South Carolina so far? Is there anything top of mind?
Not really. I feel like coming into this, I felt like it was gonna be way more nerve-wracking, like I said. And honestly, it's just felt like home since I've been here. The girls, like I said, have welcomed me, and that wasn't surprising, but I was just like, I just hope they like me. You know what I mean? I know Raven's gonna have my back. That's my girl. So, but all of them, they love me, so I love them too.
There's a lot of expectations on you going into the season because you were the top transfer everyone was looking at. You're coming to a prolific program like this. How do you deal with expectations and pressure that you'll be facing going into the season?
I think the biggest thing for me is just to give myself grace, not be too hard on myself. I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself as is, and I know outside they're going to put a lot of pressure on me too. But just stay focused on my journey and put in work, and the work's going to show. And like I said, just giving myself grace, taking it a day at a time. And I'm into a new system, new people. Like I said, just taking a day at a time.
Ta'Niya Latson, an absolute superstar. We're really, really excited to see how she does with South Carolina next season. Safe to say she's going to bring a lot of scoring, and she made clear that the WNBA is her goal. And South Carolina certainly a vessel to get her to the league. So that's from the guard position for South Carolina. Latson was the big transfer they got in that position. But from a center perspective, Madina Okot was a massive get for South Carolina after a season in which they didn't have a lot of size like Camilla Cardoso, Aaliyah Boston that we're used to seeing with South Carolina. So this was a huge get for South Carolina, as Okot is a 6'6" center coming to South Carolina from Mississippi State. She had a great season last year with Mississippi State, so she knows how to play in the SEC, and they did make it to the NCAA tournament where they lost to the Southern California Trojans out in California in the opening weekend of the tournament. But Madina Okot, very excited to get into a Gamecock uniform, a Gamecock jersey. She comes to the United States from Kenya, and here is that interview with Madina Okot with the local press here in Columbia. For coming to South Carolina, why this program? Why the Gamecocks?
Because first of all, I really like Coach Don's coaching style, and I really like the playing style, and I feel like it's going to align with my skills and my strengths.
What's it been like coaching with Danya? I'm sure you saw a lot about her outside, but what's it been like being in the facility with her day-to-day and Coach Don Staley?
She's a very, very good coach. I feel like I just feel so good being under her. She knows how to talk to the players. Maybe sometimes when you get frustrated, sometimes you're going to have good days and bad days in practice. So she knows how to talk to players through that. And she also knows how, like for example, me, I've been having issues maybe with communication because I'm from Africa and sometimes they've been struggling to get my English. She has been making sure that they're getting that right. And yeah, that's what I really like about her.
I know when you were in the transfer portal, South Carolina, one of the things they needed on their roster was someone who was 6'6", 6'7". How much of that was part of your decision that this team does need a player like you?
Honestly, I would say that it wasn't that easy to choose which school to go to, but after some evaluations and some considerations, I decided to come to this program because I feel like they got everything that I was trying to look for. Yeah.
Miriam Dowda and Adele Tack seem like good friends of yours. How's that been?
They're very, very sweet, and I really love the relationship that we have, both off and on and off the court. Like they're very caring, we're very working hard on court. We're putting in work, and I feel like we're going to be unstoppable in the coming season.
I know with Miriam, you got to go to the Soda City Market downtown. How was that experience getting to kind of see a little bit of Columbia downtown?
That was very nice. That was very sweet, and like just being able to do that on my first day of on my visit day, like that was nice, and it really motivated me to come here because I saw like I'm gonna be around people that sees me as their sisters and they're gonna take good care of me. Yeah.
This program has produced, WNBA players that are all-stars, Aaliyah Boston, Asia Wilson, Camila Cardoso now in the league. How motivating was that to come here because you've seen that they can produce pros at your position?
Having a dream to play in the WNBA since I started playing basketball, that has really been a motivating factor to me because I feel like this program has really produced good center and forward players, and I feel like I can be one of them. And yeah, that really motivated me, and I feel like I'm very positive that I'm gonna get where they are one day, one time.
How fun has it been being around this team, learning your new teammates and the coaching staff in the city? How fun has that been for you?
It's been so fun. Being away from my family, like very, very away from my family, it's been so fun. The little things that we do on court, the TikToks that we've been doing with the teams has really been a motivating factor for me to keep working, and I just love that for them.
For people who maybe have not gotten to see you play yet, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Kind. I'm a very, very kind player. I'm very open to learning new things. I'm very open to working with anybody because transferring from all the way from Kenya to here and then switching program has really taught me how to deal with different people and just like being able to appreciate cultural differences. Yeah.
A really exciting way to kick off July by meeting Tanaya Latson and Madina Okot. Safe to say they are going to bring a lot of talent to this South Carolina women's basketball team next season as they look to get to Phoenix, where the Final Four is this coming season. And they hope to get another national championship. Tanaya Latson and Madina Okot, the two best transfers that I think Dawn Staley and her team could have asked for, and the two needs that they really needed this offseason. So going to be an exciting season. Also, Isla McDowell, the freshman that's coming in to South Carolina, playing with Team Brazil, and Camila Cardoso at the FIBA AmeriCup. So she was not at our press gathering this week here in Columbia. So we're excited to meet her and the South Carolina freshman class in the coming weeks. But the Gamecock basketball season will be here before you know it. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening to this special episode of South Carolina Sideline. We'll be back next week with a new release on Tuesday with myself and Jared Parker, and then next Thursday, we'll have an interview with Marcus Lattimore, who has released a new book. So very, very excited to get Marcus on the podcast. It's been a fun solo show here on the South Carolina Sideline podcast this week, a first for me and our team, but hope you guys have a happy 4th of July wherever you are. Enjoy the holiday, be safe, have a good time, and we'll see you next week here on South Carolina Sideline.